Japan has had a rough history when it comes to the LGBT community. Even though Japan has some of the most eccentric shows and people out there, their less than favorable view on women and the LGBT can make Japan seem like some backwards place that you're not allowed to be gay or trans in. But that does not mean that there isn't change happening and views and laws aren't being shifted in a better direction. And now more than ever, there are manga and anime that portrays both gay and trans characters in a way better light. So in this video, I set out on a mission. I want to find 3 manga that was about being specifically transfem, because that's what I am, and read them to see how we really are portrayed. The rules in this was really simple. It had to be short-ish, I cannot have read or watched it before, and it had to be male to female, since that's my experience and I want to see if I can find something that hit kind of home for me. Brave New World of Love is a romance manga about Sarah, whose dead name is Nikotama, starting a new life at a new school. Here she finds and falls in love with Narise Kaito, who now has to struggle with his friends making fun of him, his own sexuality, and if he is ready to deal with all the hardships that may come dating Sarah. Chapter 1 out of 6 sets up the tone for the manga. When she arrives at the school, everyone is shocked to learn that Sarah is actually biologically a man. But most of the class quickly gets used to it, and the girls even let her change with them, asking about her makeup and her hair. Later in the chapter, she gets kidnapped by some bullies who don't believe that she was born a man and wants to strip her down so they can do some investigation. They get quickly beaten up though, and Sarah gets to make her move on Naruse. The manga, in my opinion, is a mix of both good and bad. There are moments that are funny, but if you start thinking about it too hard, it's actually really sad if you put yourself in that situation. Like Sarah drinking soy milk for the hormone benefits and her mom calling CPS to see if there's any food that strengthens testosterone. Or her dad saying, "I've given up," with this dead expression on him. But while reading it, you end up not thinking about it too seriously because of Sarah's personality. She don't give 5 flying fucks about who you are, what you name her, what you do to her. She is she, and she will live like she wants to. It really shows that as a trans person, you are so dependent on yourself to make you happy and to ignore even your own parents to protect your peace at times. After chapter 2, where Sarah gets revenge on the bullies and ends up kissing Narise, the whole plot kinda becomes annoying in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, as a transfem person reading it, it's amazing to see somebody living their life so free, but after this, to me, it just becomes so annoying to have the same stuff happening over and over again, with kind of the same reactions. People being shocked about Sarah's appearance and finding out that she is biologically a he, parents being non-supportive or cold, and Narise is still struggling with his feelings, while Sarah is determined to be with him. Not only that, but reading it on PC as I do to be able to record a screen, it kind of feels messy in a way to read. Now, that's not me saying that the art is bad or anything like that. The art is quite amazing, but the layout, at least to me, felt annoying and sometimes clunky to try to read. All in all, I would recommend it if you're craving an easy to digest romance manga with a little bit of spice. From today onward, we're 4 sisters. Sakura is a 16-year-old high school student who's living with her 2 sisters, Momoji and Botan. 2 years ago, their 19-year-old brother Kashiwa left to go to college. But one day, the sisters wakes up to an email from their brother saying that he is coming back tomorrow. The next day when he arrives at home, they are shocked to find out that he is now she, and that now they have a whole new sister. From Today is a great representation of the reality of what a lot of transfem people have to go through, especially when one or multiple of the family members are not as accepting as the others. Kashiwa is actually not the main person in the story, but rather her sister Sakura, who is the one that takes it the hardest. And no, it's not like she hated her brother growing up and now she just dislikes him no matter what. It's actually quite the opposite. She loved her brother, and when he became she, Sakura feels like her big brother isn't there anymore, and that this new person has taken away her brother. What I love about this manga is the actual representation and how real it is about what a lot of trans people and their families go through. It's a tricky situation where you know a person your entire life, and it finally comes out that this person has never felt right their entire life. And even though you have loved them and you cared for them and you accepted them, it's so hard to accept the reality that you were not involved in some way. And that now you're just expected to just accept this new person that you feel has actually stolen or taken away somebody you loved. As the manga goes on though, the sisters starts opening up more and they start being more accepting, and they really start showing that when it does matter the most, the person that they truly love and care for not only is still there, but is also happier than ever before. Now don't get me wrong though, I really do like this manga, but the opening is fucking dreadful. It starts with Sakura walking home with her friend who is in love with her, who then forces himself onto her, kissing her and grabbing her chest. And the manga just kind of blows over this and doesn't treat this like it's a literal sexual harassment case. This non-consent theme kind of keeps going on throughout the entire manga. When Kashiwa is home and they are sitting down and she tries to start explaining what is happening to her sisters, they tear open her shirt to check if her boobs are real. Sakura even going on to say that this is quote-unquote normal amongst girls. Now, don't get me wrong, I would too love to kiss all of my femme-presenting homies, but only when they consent to it, and I would never randomly sit down and rip open the shirt of anyone just in the middle of them trying to explain me something. But besides all that, the manga is great and the art is amazing, if not a little too much on the fan service side. Boku Girl. Boku Girl is about Mitsuki, who's a first-year high school student, who from a very young age has been brought up to be a strong and a powerful man after his mother had passed away. But there's only one problem, if you can call it that. He looks like a girl, and not by choice. He just looks very feminine. It's such an issue for Mitsuki that when guys try to ask him out, he has to show them his ID to prove that he is not a girl. And sometimes that doesn't even work. As Mitsuki and his best friend Takeru is sitting in a restaurant eating lunch, Mitsuki complaining about being looked at as a girl, his friend gets a great idea. Just get a girlfriend. Mitsuki thinks this is a terrible idea, but Takeru is confident it will work. As they are talking, the girl Mitsuki likes walks in, and just in time as well. After talking for a while, Mitsuki is trying to calm himself down after staring a little bit too much, and that's when Sushiro asks him what Takeru's favorite food is. She isn't interested in Mitsuki in that way, she's more interested in his friend. And she explains it that when talking to him, she feels so much more comfortable because, well, it feels like talking to one of the gals. Defeated and sad, Mitsuki walks home. That's when the manga cuts to the prankster god Loki, aiming her gun at her next target. Loki is bored. The gods have gotten used to all her pranks after dealing with her for so many years. So now, Loki, with a brand new idea of pranking a human, has set her sights on Mitsuki. After being attacked by a strange looking bee, Mitsuki wakes up to find his willy gone and that he now has breasts. Loki turned him into a biological woman. I wanted the last manga to be a little bit more lighthearted, since I feel like the topic of being transgender can come off as a very heavy and not a fun subject to talk about. But this manga is the proof that not only can it highlight positivity in sexuality and gender, but it also at times is just very funny, even if it's on the behalf of the main character. Besides some very awkward moments only manga can provide, I ended up actually really loving this manga. Seeing Mitsuki going from denying what their life is now like to loving their new life without spoiling too much, and living life with a brand new view is a fun and interesting, and in some ways a more eye-opening experience to some of the other mangas I have talked about today. Out of all the manga I've spoken about today, if you are in the space to try to find manga that is about gender and sexuality but in not such a serious tone, this is the one for you. If, again, you can look past some of the awkward panels at times.